Well, Jabril, you just touched on it, man. I mean, this is where everything began for you, right? What's it like to be now back here and be a full-time coach?
Yeah, man, it's a blessing, man. I tell people, I said, for how much Boise have done for me, for coming here as a player, going through the things I went through as a player, it really turned me into the person I am today, and I give all back to this place, man. This city, I love this place.
What was it like when Avalos called you into his office and said, "Hey, basically, we're going in your direction. You got the gig." What was that? Take me through the emotions there.
Yeah, it was so many emotions. You talk about that. Once I got in this career, it was because of those two guys, Coach Spencer Danielson and Coach Andy Avalos. They're the reason why I wanted to become a coach. The impact they made on me as a player, the way they changed my life, and I mean, for me to get that call and to know that that's what I can do for the guys that are in the program right here. We talk about it every single day. How can you make your impact? And for me, it was to be a coach. And when he gave me that call and told me that, I'm now the edge coach, I almost cried, teared up because, I've been through a lot. This place has done a lot for me. And to give back to this place, to give back to this city, you probably hear me say that a lot. I tell people that a lot in recruiting, man, is this place has done a lot for me. And so I owe it all back to this place.
Talk about doing a lot for you. I mean, you think about the days where you were not gray shirting, I don't know what they call it.
Yeah, it was gray shirting.
Yeah, where I mean, you had to use the weight room when no one else could use it, right? I mean, just take us back to that and just how far you've come.
Yeah, I came here, as a young man from Los Angeles, California, and I came here on a gray shirt, and people might not know what that is now, but it was, back then we had a sliding scale, and you had to have a certain GPA and certain SAT score, and I didn't meet the requirements, but they still gave me the opportunity to come here. I set out a whole year. It was nothing but football in school, and not even football, but it was just weightlifting in school, and it made me really realize why I played college football, and that if football gets taken away from you, what's next? And it really made me mature, and I think that's one of the reasons I look back. I really matured a lot in that time, and throughout my career, I've always had ups and downs with injuries and things like that. But I've always noticed that hard work works, and that's the definition of my life. Hard work works. From school to football to now, being a full-time coach. Is always my definition is hard work.
When you came here as a football player. I'm not even sure you were thinking about coaching, it sounds like. So, and then you had a chance to go play professionally, and it didn't quite work out. How devastating was that, and how lost were you before you figured out the coaching element?
Yeah, and I mean, I tell people this story a lot. Once I got done with football, I was really lost, man. I moved back to Los Angeles, and I lived with my parents, and you come from a guy that I feel like I had a lot, here at Boise State. I've made a lot of plays, and then for me to go to the Jets and my knee situation didn't work out, and I had to move in back with my parents, and that was really a humbling experience for me. But I believe a lot, in God, and everything happens for a reason. I look back and I'm like, wow, that really made me find out who I was, and it built my faith stronger, and it made me really figure out what's next in life. And I started training outside linebackers down in Los Angeles, and I really gained a passion from it. And I used to talk to Coach D and Coach Av a lot, about how can I get in coaching and things like that. And it's funny because they kept telling me to stay away from it. And I was like, you telling me to stay away from it? I'm about to really run to it now. And for Coach Harsin to give me the opportunity to become a GA on the offensive side of the ball, I look back and I'm like, wow, I learned a lot from that experience. And then, so like you say, answering your question, man, I really learned a lot. I really, I burnt that desire and passion to really become a coach, really learn how to coach the game of football and things like that.
I don't know if you necessarily saw it, but not only after Kelly left, a lot of the players were advocating that you would be the next edge coach at Boise State.
Yep.
So did you see that? And either way, hearing about it, like what did that mean to you for the players to go to bat for you?
Yeah, I did see it. A lot of the players hit me up. They were pushing me, and I mean, at the end of the day, my whole objective is just to make an impact on everybody. People in the community, no matter big or small, man. I just want to, make an impact on others. I walk around with a smile just because I know what I've been through, and I know what the futures hold. But I just try to be that shining light, for the guys in this room, in this this building, man. I've been in their shoes. I play here, so I'm always trying to motivate guys. What I learned as a football player, how can I help them be better? And that's what I tell guys. It's not about me no more. It's about how can I make these guys, reach their goals and aspirations, to play at the next level, or not even play at the next level, but to become better men.
Not a lot of people are GAs for 4 years. Being here for that long, not making a lot of money, grinding.
Yeah.
Was it ever tough to see the light at the end of the tunnel?
Yeah, that's a good question, man. It was, you know, GA for 3 years, and like he said, you don't make a lot of money, but at the end of the day, I knew what I wanted to be. You know, I would have GA, you know, longer or whatever it took to become a full-time coach because, you know, like I told you guys, man, I've been through a lot of things harder in life than that, you know, to be a GA. So I look back and I'm just like, you know, look at the great issues, look at the injuries, look at the things I grew up in, the city I grew up in, you know, and to look back, I'm like, man, 3 years of GN, yes, it's hard, but I made sure every time I walked in the building, I had a smile on my face, and I worked my butt off, and good things happen to good people.
You mentioned that Coach D had a huge impact on you.
Yeah.
What about him? Why did he have such a big impact?
Yeah, man, you know, I look at, you know, college football as almost a second puberty for somebody, you know, and, you know, I moved away from Los Angeles, and, you know, the things I learned in Los Angeles probably weren't the best things, you know, growing up in that type of environment, and I got to Boise State, and, you know, it's funny that you asked, because when me and Coach D first met, like, he was at my junior year, like I kind of like butted heads with him, and then he started to build that relationship with me, and we became, you know, he was one of my mentors throughout college, and, you know, he basically directed the path, and like, hey, you know, if you do this, you do this, and, you know, he really developed me into a man, and I give him all praise for that, and he's one of my mentors. Anytime I have a question, I look up to Coach D. Anytime this happens, you know, I go to Coach D. So, you know, that's been since I was, you know, junior when he got here as a GA, and he was coaching our outside linebacker room. And so he's always been there for me. And so I've always, you know, leaned on him for everything that I needed, you know, and so.
When you first came here, you weren't like this. I mean, from our perspective,
Yeah.
in terms of outgoing, talkative. I don't know what you were like behind the scenes. How much have you had to work on you to become like coach material?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. You know, I've worked on myself a lot, you know, and that's you know, you grow, and if you're not growing, then you're going somewhere else. And, you know, I've grown a lot, you know, ever since I got done playing, you know, and as a player, I grew. You know, my senior year, I became a captain. That really helped me out a lot to really, you know, create my own voice of who I really am and how to, you know, lead others and things like that. And, you know, going after football and getting into coaching, you know, I had to grow in that, you know. It's not as easy as people think to, you know, oh, I'm gonna walk in and just be a coach. Like that's the mindset that a lot of people have, but I really had to learn how to teach, how to lead, how to be a mentor to others and things like that. And so I'm on a steady climb to, you know, continue to grow and continue to, you know, help others out.
What do you think about the people that are working at your position group,
Yeah.
and what's the greatest need to get better?
Yeah, you know, in my position group, we're constantly trying to get better. You know, we have a good group right now, and we're pushing, you know, to push each other and, you know, create that, you know, that real family atmosphere in the room. You know, and because I believe, you know, our best rooms in that room, you know, we were really close, you know, knitted, and we really loved on each other and pushed each other. Because when you're pushing somebody in the room, you know, they talk about iron sharpens iron. So we're gonna continue to do that.
Did Coach? Sorry.
I was going to say, following up, so what is the greatest need for somebody to be at that edge rusher, somebody that really is a playmaker? What does somebody need to do to become a you or somebody like you that
Yeah.
did it well here?
Yeah, you know, first off, like I talked about, it's hard work. You know, you have to be able to put in the work. That position calls for a lot. You know, a guy that can, you know, really, you know, focus in on the details, you know, pass rush and dropping the coverage, you know, playing the run game, things like that. And so, you know, a guy that's willing to come every single day and put in the work, but not just putting the work for himself, but bring others along with him. And so that's one of the biggest thing I push for is, you know, don't just push for yourself, but bring a brother along with you, because part of the brotherhood, you got to bring others.
Did Coach Avalos give you the good news through a call?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so you hang up with him. Who did you call first?
Yeah, so I was actually in the car with my girlfriend.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's a funny story, but we were at the mall and he called me and I was just like, wow, like, it was an impressive moment, man. A moment I'll never forget.
You mentioned, go ahead.
What is your day-to-day like, or how does it differ from like when you were a GA? Like, I assume you probably have your own office now.
Yeah.
And then I know you maybe hit on some of this stuff, but how confident are you that you're ready for this opportunity?
Yeah, no, I mean, I got a lot of guys around me that pushes me and help me, you know, get to the job that I've done, and so I'm confident in to get it done. But, you know, I have Coach Av, I have Coach D, a lot of guys that coach the edge position that if I ever need help with, you know, I can go to those guys and lean on them and add, hey, what about this, what about that? So with those guys, I know that we can get the job done all together, man, and so I'm excited for what the future holds.
You said your first year you were an offensive GA.
Yes.
What was that like? And I don't know how. You know, I know you know football,
Yes.
but you're obviously a defensive player. So how did that help you? You think?
Oh, that that helped me a lot. You know, I worked with the tight end, so I was able to see their perspective on things and what they look for. You know, what different offense look for, and I mean, it helped me out a lot because I had to learn a lot about offense. And we think one side looks for one thing, and then they're not looking for nothing but that. But it really expanded my game of football. It made me learn, deeper into not just knowing what defensive players do or what defense coaches look for, but offensive coaches. Make me a well-rounded coach.
You don't see this very often, but we talked to Dimitri about this. But you teammates
Yes.
with some of the dudes that are still on the team.
Yes.
Now you're Coach Frazier.
Yeah.
What challenges is that to go from, hey, I know we were former teammates, but it's not
Yeah.
like that at all. And I know you were a GA,
Yeah.
but is there any challenges there?
No, I don't think so. I remember once I first got in this career, I remember Coach D told me that if I really want to take this far, I got to separate myself from a player, from the players, and and not in a bad way, but I separated myself right away, and I was like, hey, I'm all business. I want to be a coach, and I went through it a different way, and so I never did anything with the players outside of football and things like that, and I was they always see me in the building, grinding late hours and putting in the work, and I tell them all the time, man, I put in the work for you guys, and so and that's probably one of the reasons go back when. A lot of the players was like, hey, Coach Frazier, because I tell those guys, man, I'm gonna grind for you guys no matter what. I want what's best for you guys. It's not nothing about me. It's what's best for not the edge guys, but the offensive line. I'm pushing those guys. I'm pushing running backs, things like that. It's not for myself. I'm trying to impact the team on a whole different level.
Just putting together the timeline a little bit, so you get to call up the mall with your girlfriend.
Yeah.
Was that before or after you were out on the road recruiting once Kelly left?
That was after.
Okay. Well, what was it like to get the opportunity to kind of get out on the road, and
Yeah.
maybe try to prove yourself that you were, capable of recruiting and everything that this job takes?
Yeah, no, that was a awesome opportunity. I got the call late at night, and I was on the plane 6 o'clock in the morning, ready to go. And I didn't know really what I was doing. I was just like, hey, I know I got to show up at schools. I got to do a couple of home visits, and they, the coaches helped me along the way. But it was good to show that I can recruit and do things like that.